Good evening, and welcome to Black Nouveau. I'm James Causey, in for Joanne Williams this week. This is our edition for April 1st, 2015. This week, Joanne continues our conversation with State Senator Nakia Harris-Dodd. Some former educators weigh in on how to improve public education, and the cast of Milwaukee Rep's production of Low Down Dirty Blues joins us. But we begin with an issue that has affected over 250,000 low-income households in Wisconsin, the cutback in the food share program. Joining me is Sherry Tussler, Executive Director of the Milwaukee Hunger Task Force. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So tell me what's going on.
The state of Wisconsin has decided that people who are on food share that are able-bodied adults will work at least 80 hours per month in order to keep their food share benefits. They've established time limits of 90 days. After 90 days, you do not work and report that you've worked, you will lose your food share benefits for 3 years.
Now, statewide, 40,000 people have been cut off the program already from 2014. Why is that?
Those 40,000 people are actually a different group of people. Those are seniors and people with disabilities, people living in public housing. Anyone whose heat was included in their rent recently underwent a change in their food share benefits and had a decrease because they were no longer able to get something called the standard household utility allowance. As a result, they lost as much as $90 a month in their food share buying benefits, and many of those people are now going hungry.
$90 from what? What's the average bill?
The average benefit is about $123 a month.
So $90 from $123.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a lot. So who picks up the slack?
Hunger Task Force is responsible as your free and local food bank for supplying food pantries, soup kitchens, and homeless shelters here in Milwaukee. The concern that we have, honestly, James, is that right now we're serving 35,000 people every single month. Our state is anticipating that at least 15,000 more people will be cut off of food share over the course of the next 12 months as part of this food stamp employment and training program. And if those numbers get in line at those food pantries, Hunger Task Force may run out of food.
How do you join up to come to the Hunger Task Force? Do you just come?
People go to food pantries. Our responsibility is to find all the food and to supply the food pantries. People can call 211 if they're in need of emergency food. We also supply the soup kitchens, and typically people just get in line in front of a soup kitchen and eat there. Homeless shelters are also supplied by the Hunger Task Force.
Okay. So is there any way that any of these funds could be restored?
Actually, there is some effort. The state is looking at the possibility of restoring the heat and eat cuts for those seniors, and David Bowen is promoting some legislation to do that. But the cuts that are going to be related to the work requirements, there's nothing that's going to change about that. That is federal law. Our state is the first one to get in line to sort of remove the waiver that was in place that required the work. We haven't required work in Wisconsin since 2006. But we are going to require work again, and when you don't work, you will lose your food share benefits.
Let's go back to heat and eat. Can you talk a little bit about that? How does that work?
Basically, people come up for their food share review, and whenever they go up for their food share review, they have to supply information that verifies anything that they answered yes to. Do you pay utilities? Yes. In the past, you could get a standard utility allowance. If you got at least $1 in low-income energy assistance, you would get the standard utility allowance, which would simplify your case review, but it also would increase your base benefit. Now you have to submit every single one of your utility bills and have your case calculated, which has resulted in the drop.
Now, the scary part is that a lot of people were uninformed that these cuts were even going to take place.
The seniors all got a letter that said, your case is going to be decreased, but it didn't say that they had any change, and since nothing about their circumstances had changed, it was very confusing for them. The able-bodied adults are going to start getting a letter saying that their new food stamp employment and training agency is a company called ResCare, and they need to show up for their review, and if they don't show up for their review, their case will be closed. When they show up for their review, the 80-hour work requirement will begin, and if they don't comply with that work requirement after 90 days, their case will be closed for 3 years.
3 years.
3 years without food.
Wow, wow. So can you tell me how the governor's budget impacts this?
Well, it was a decision that the governor made to withdraw that waiver, and so we've actually invested $57.5 million here in the state of Wisconsin to create this job training program that's going to require people to prove that they've been working in order to get their food stamp benefits. We anticipate that investment will result in 66,000 individuals losing their food stamps for at least 3 years, and sadly, we'll also lose about $88 million in federal food buying power because food stamps are 100% federally funded.
100%. So when it comes to food stamps, people do use them, and they use this as a way to supplement their income. Is there any other kind of benefits out there that could help them?
Food stamps, the Women, Infants, and Children's program is there for women who are pregnant or postpartum and children younger than 6. You've got school meals programs, which are also a federal program, school lunch, breakfast, and supper. But the food stamp program has been the nation's first line of defense against hunger since the 70s. And right now, more than 826,000 people living in the state of Wisconsin use food stamps to put food on the table.
Okay. Well, this is great information. Thank you for sharing it. A lot of people need to know that this is taking place, and it's scary right now. It's a scary time.
I think people should be aware, and if they need any assistance, they can call Hunger Task Force, or they should look for people who are dressed in this blue shirt at any of the welfare offices or any of the job centers, and we can help you fix your food stamp case if it's possible that it can be fixed.
Give us that number one more time.
777-0483.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You got me running.
Come on.
Ha. You got me hiding. Ha. You got me run, hide, run. Anywhere you want to let it roll.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ha. Oh, you got me doing what you want to. Baby, what you want me to do.
I'm glad you asked that question.
Talk to me.
I'm going up.
Uh-huh.
I'm going down.
Oh,
I'm going up, down, down, up. Anywhere you want to let it roll. Yeah, 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 yeah. You got me doing what you want. Sugar baby, what you want me to do.
Rock me, baby.
Uh-oh.
Rock me all night long.
All
say,
night
Jelly?
long.
You want me to say it again?
All night long.
Rock me, baby.
Oh, that's a lot of rocking going on.
Rock me all night long.
I believe I'm up to the task.
I want you to rock me
How?
like my back ain't got no bone.
Roll me, daddy, like a big old wagon.
I can roll me.
Roll me, daddy, like a big old wagon. I want you to roll me. You know how good it make me feel.
Look here, y'all. I'm going in.
Put your arms
I'm
around
going
me
out.
like a
I'm going in, out, in. Anywhere you want to let it roll.
Arms around me.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah,
circle around the sun.
You got me doing what you
Call me
want.
mama.
Baby,
Let
what you
me
want me
lay
to do.
down in your arms.
Rock me, baby.
Rock me, baby.
I'm going down.
Rock me all.
Rock me
I'm
all
going up,
night
down,
long.
up. Anywhere you want to let it
Rock
roll.
me, baby.
Rock me all night.
Rock me all night.
Look at now.
You
got me doing what you wanna.
Like my back ain't got no bone.
I'm with the cast of Low Down Dirty Blues. First, let me get everyone to introduce themselves.
Rob Stevens, keyboards.
Felicia P. Field, Big Mama.
Chick Street Man, Jelly.
And Sugar Ray Rayford. Sugar Ray.
Okay, can you guys tell me why people should go see this show?
Because the blues is everyone's story. You're going to enjoy it. It's a lively show, and you should come check it out.
I think you should come see it because people really think that the blues is a depressed music, but it is actually a very vibrant music. And in this particular show, we take you on highs, we take you on lows, we even let the audience participate. And they have good food and good dessert. As you can see, Mama eats there.
Yeah, what I like about this particular show is you've got three very different kinds of singers, performers, and one incredible piano player that's playing with us. And the way the different styles come together and merge to make a blues plate is just fantastic.
It's fun. Come out and have fun. That's all you need to know. Come have fun.
Every day I have the blues.
Oh,
Yeah, every day.
Lord have mercy.
Every day I have the blues.
Every day.
All right. Yes, and when you see me worrying, it's you I hate to lose.
Nobody loves me. Nobody seems to care.
I love you, mama.
Oh, nobody loves Big Mama. Don't nobody seem to care. Oh, hard luck and trouble. People I done had my share.
I'm gonna pack my suitcase.
Come on, Jelly.
I'm gonna move on down the line.
Don't go too far.
I'm gonna pack my suitcase. I'm gonna move on down the line.
Yeah.
Well, there ain't nobody worrying. There ain't nobody crying.
Listen here, ladies, listen. I keep one man in the valley, another one up on the hill.
all right.
I got one good man in the valley, another one up on the hill. Cause when my valley man ain't working, I'm cool cause I know my hill will. Every day,
Every day, every day.
every day I have the blues.
Every day, every day.
Every
Every day, every day.
Every day I have the
Every
blues.
day, every day.
Oh, when you see me worry, it's you I hate to lose.
Come on.
Say it with me, y'all. I said, hey, hey, the blues is all right.
I said, hey, hey, the blues is all right.
I said, hey, hey, the blues is all
I
right.
said, hey, 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 the blues is all right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Hey, hey, the blues is all right.
Hey, hey, the blues is all right.
I said, hey, 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 the blues is all
I
right.
said, hey, 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 the blues is all right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Lowdown Dirty Blues continues at the Milwaukee Rep Stackner Cabaret through May 24th. Later in the program, we'll tell you how you can win tickets to the production.
Last week, we talked about the Unite Milwaukee Summit with State Senator Nakia Harris-Dodd. She joins us this week to talk about legislative issues that may reduce violence, as well as all the other things going on in Madison. And there is a lot, right?
Oh, yes. There is a whole lot.
First of all, what issues are being discussed that may help reduce the violence in Milwaukee and all over Wisconsin?
Well, last year I introduced a universal background checks bill that I think is going to be very critical to getting guns out of the hands of criminals. Basically, it will close that loophole to gun show sales where individuals will just not have access. And so that will significantly, I think, reduce crime.
We've talked about background checks over and over again, many times. What makes you optimistic that this time it's going to become law?
Well, I wish I could be as optimistic as I sound by talking about this bill. Unfortunately, we know that we're going to have an uphill battle again because the legislature is significantly much more stringent than it has been in recent years. We have a supermajority, so we know we're going to, hit some roadblocks. However, it does not stop us from trying, and I think that if we can show how important it is to close that loophole, then we will get some support. And I understand that, there are some Republicans who, at least want to reduce the criminal justice system and with the financial cost that it brings. And so hopefully, they can see a vital need in this reform as well.
So there might be some bipartisan support for this. Are you seeing some bipartisan support coming with some of the issues? Some issues, but not all. Right now, I'm working on some other legislation where I am getting some bipartisan support. And right now, it's just, some things are just in the writings. I mean, it's not a published document as of date, but just, keep watching. You'll see a few nuggets. They'll give us a few nuggets that we can work together on. One step at a time. One step at a time. The biggest thing the legislature took up in recent weeks was right to work.
Yeah.
From your perspective inside the Senate, how did that go?
That was a very, very challenging piece of legislation and really difficult to even face, because those of us who understand what right to work means, even though the name in of itself is misleading, some folks, if they don't understand what right to work means, they might think it's a good thing for our state. But in actuality, it's so horribly wrong, where it really, people are working for less, and it doesn't give them any protections in the workplace at all. And so to completely dismantle unions we're going in the wrong direction. And so it was really tough. I mean, especially when you know that you had 6 Republican senators who were adamantly against it, but 5 of them still chose to vote for it. And it's sad.
Well, it's happened, and it's going to be
the law.
Wisconsin's going to be the 25th state to have right to work. Some other issues in the legislature. We've heard a suggestion about having people having to go through drug testing so that they can get benefits. What kind of traction is that getting in the legislature?
Unfortunately, it's looking like that's going to be, again, the law of our state, where we will be putting people who are poor in worse circumstances that they're already in, where they won't even be able to get benefits like food share, so that they can eat and meet their basic needs. And we see the trend that is set before us and that's already been before us, and it just doesn't, look good to continue to penalize poor people, and that's just seem to be the path that this state is going into, and we know it's not going to solve any problems at all, and so it's like, why do we need this?
What's the biggest issue you'd like to tackle in the next several months?
Our education system has continued to get hit. Our K through 12 public education is one of those issues that we just cannot continue to backpedal on. And if we, don't solve the problem of funding that continues to be taken away from our public school system, we're going to be in a world of trouble. And we're not going to be able to produce the caliber of student we claim we want to graduate from our schools. And so this whole, path from, K-12 to now our university system, being hit $20 million for UW Milwaukee alone is just, they're really hurting our state and our educational system overall. So if we don't invest in our youth, I don't know what they expect them to do.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye on the legislature and have you come back and give us another update as things move along and see if things get more optimistic. You are optimistic, though, right?
Oh, always, always. The fight is still in me. I am still excited about doing my job for the people that I serve. And, I'm not going to not say anything about the bad policies, but we just know that how things are going based on the makeup.
Well, thank you very much for coming and talking with us. State Senator Nakia Harris Dodd, who is fighting the good fight in Madison.
Thank you.
Come back again and give us an update.
I will.
Education is a serious matter and differs on how it's done. We spoke with 5 retired educators who combined have over 125 years of experience, and we got a historical view on education.
I think they were in third grade or fourth grade, where they were cut up sometime, but we simmered them right down.
Retired teacher Beulah Howard, a teacher who always had high expectations for her students.
All children, I don't care where they go to school, if you are not handy with them, you won't be able to measure what they do or measure how they act. They must be able to go along with the teacher without being disagreeable.
This building once housed the Lady Pitts School, a school for pregnant girls. Before Lady Pitts, girls were booted out of school for being pregnant. Lucinda Gordon changed the curriculum on that.
The one thing that did happen is the girls were not kicked out of any school, so that they didn't have to go to Lady Pitts. All the high schools. So it became, and at a national level, it became an public school education problem.
Society became more open, and because of Gordon, we now have family life education.
Teaching parents, husbands, because I remember one gentleman who said, "Is that what we're going to talk about? Because I don't talk about that with my wife." And I shook my finger in his face and said, "That's the problem." We didn't talk about sex education or sexuality.
Retired teacher Shelley Johnson once taught at 20th Street School. She feels children have a lack of respect.
Children don't respect themselves, they don't respect the parents, and they don't respect the teachers. So all of that's gone. That's why you have so many problems now. See, if children would understand, everybody have, I say, this is my territory. We all got territory. So you don't violate that. You crossing the line. So let's get that straightened out right now. Parents have got to go back to training children instead of saying, I can't do anything with him. That's wrong. That's your job. I got the feeling, listening to children talk, that they nail about teaching themselves. When do you communicate face to face? When do you ask questions? When do you have discussions? You got to have discussions to find out what's on my mind or what's on your mind or how you feel about things. And see, once you get a child start to think, then you can teach him. But if you don't give them that opportunity, it's not going to happen. They don't feel like they have any need to get an education. You can never take education away from you if you learn it and learn it well. That's yours until you dead. And they don't understand that. Sure, but it has to be taught, and that starts in the school system. Teach them that. Go back to the basics, You have to train a child. A child cannot train himself. Go back to the basics. Teach him how to respect. First, respect yourself. When you respect yourself, you can demand respect from anybody else. But if you don't respect yourself, why should anybody else respect you?
Technology changed Arturia Reed's style of teaching, just as parental involvement changed.
At the beginning years, parents were really concerned. They would come to PTA, they would call for conferences, they would come to scheduled conferences. They were really, really involved with the education of their children. As the years went by, parents got more involved in work, other kinds of situations that may have been negative, and they did not respond well to the system, to the teachers. They really didn't respond very well to their own children. They went lacking because the parents forgot or didn't advise them or didn't get them where they should have been. And those kinds of things are hard on young people. When we started, they were more prepared because the parents, like I said, had their focus on, I want my child educated, I want my child to learn, and they would assist them. They would assist them with homework or whatever was necessary to have them prepared for a day at school. In later years, it dwindled down. You always will have some parents who are going to be the parent you admire and glad to have have their child in your classroom. But there are so many vices out there in the world that parents just don't take that kind of interest. Many parents don't take that kind of interest in their children, and children can't do it by themselves.
Hester Bastida believes the most important profession is teaching because everybody has to go to school.
I really feel things haven't changed, but they have changed. Too many teachers don't care and say that children can't learn. That's not true. I challenge anybody. I can go into any classroom and in 30 minutes' time, I can show you that children will listen, that they will participate. I've done it since I retired, just to prove to myself that things haven't changed. So good teachers that care about the children and don't put them down or make them feel you're dumb. We have people making decisions close to us who really don't value education. I clip all the articles, and when they cut teachers' salaries, when they do things to the most important people, meaning the teachers, then that shows me, that tells all of us, you don't value education.
Before we close tonight, we have 4 pairs of tickets to Low Down Dirty Blues for a viewer who can answer a question. Before I give you the question though, here are the rules. You need to give us the correct answer to the question, your name, address, and phone number, or you will be disqualified. Many of the people who responded to previous quizzes failed to give us all that information, and that made them ineligible. Here's the question. What is the stage name of blues singer Gertrude Pridgett? If you know the answer, call us at 414-297-7556 or email us at tvviewer@matc.edu. The contest closes at 6 p.m. on April 5th, 2015. And that's Black Nouveau for this week. I'm James Causey for Joanne Williams. Thank you for watching. Good night.